Dear Lord, it's me again. I'm awake again, to breathe again, to smile and laugh again with people that have no idea. But to you, O Lord, to you I have cried out, and every morning my prayers have come before you. But to the people that surround me, I have been silent. But I will not be quiet again, for I have been silent for too long, and I'm tired. I'm tired of being the silence. So today, silence speaks.
She locks her soul behind bars of denial and cuffs her heart with chains of fear. It's a fear to love. She says love is too deep. But has an ocean ever been shallow? She was once my sunshine. Now she's become this brick that broke me down. My soul has been shattered, and I am bruised by the pieces of my own sorrow. Sorrow that I cared. Sorrow for wanting peace. Peace that was turned into violent verbal pieces. And so now I try to put myself together. But every time I lean on her, my hand goes right through. She's like a ghost. She's like a ghost that calls me at night, fills me up with hope that once again she'll be my sunshine. But when I wake, my heart beats alone. She's not there. She's not there, yet her heart, it wants to reach out. But I know it has been cuffed with chains of fear, and now it grows cold behind the cells of denial, charged by the heartbeat of those who come close, electrified, only for a moment, and then she just slips into beautiful dreams with a teardrop from her heart. Her soul is not at peace. Her soul is not at peace, and I am gathering my pieces so I can find peace with self. I will let her fly free like a dove with a leaf, because like my heart, she will lose it along the way. See, the truth, it lies in her. That is why I will no longer listen to words that come from her soul. Reality has been imprisoned in her heart. It is the shame of being convicted with self-conviction, with the display of righteousness. And so now I take a step back, never again to ask her to step forward, because my keys were not the ones to open her cells and free her heart. Yes, my keys were not the ones to open her cells and free her heart. I read her lips like they were the blank pages of her diary. Muted. She spoke to me like 10,000 roses on a grave, and then she died. And her voice had sailed away on the sinking ships of her past. Her sorrows, they waved goodbye with the sounds of an ocean defeated. Waters came and reached the shore and turned back. They could not touch her, for she had now overcome this world by the spirit in her, greater than the soil, her flesh. For she wore mud as a garment for her soul, now cleansed. But once upon a darkness, ndandilidlakadlaka lomphefumulo, hliziyo yami ngamahlwili ndifukuzela ndibhadula phakathi kwamatyholo, ndikhangela ukukhanya ezinzulwini zobusuku, ndaphuthaputha amehlo daqhela, wangathi ndiyabona kanti ndizobona ngam sendisencamini yokufa, ndisithelwe lilifa elimnyama, ndancama
ndakhala ndathi kwanele lameva wapheli kudala ndiwoncothula ukufa kuyazenzela kokhula entsimini engenamlimi baphina bavunayo nasi isiqhamo sitshabalala besesivuthiwe ndithi baphina bavunayo nasi isiqhamo sitshabalala besesivuthiwe aphendula amazulu kwaqhakeka amafu kwavela ukhanya kwala ndinelindimi lasithela ngetyholo elalityhola ngamanxeba ngengowakho tsi isiqhelo siyayoyisa ingqondo. And so he came and he read my lips like they were the bloody pages of my diary, muted. I spoke to him like 10,000 roses on a grave, and then I died because he died. And my voice sailed away on the sinking ships of my past. My sorrows, they waved goodbye with the sounds of an ocean defeated. Waters have come and reached the shore, but they turn back. They cannot touch me because I have now overcome this world by his spirit in me greater than this soil, my flesh. See, I too wear mud as a garment for my soul, now cleansed. But remember that once upon a darkness ndandilidlakadlaka lomphefumulo inhliziyo yami ngamahlwili ndifukuzela ndibhadula phakathi kwamatyholo kwafika kukhanya. Yeah. I think we have the same sickness, love. It's a beautiful disease. It's a beautiful disease that I hope that we will infect each other with someday. Just as we have infected those we have met along the way as we journey through life in pursuit of each other and more. And now we have met, and our worlds have gently collided at the center of chaos, and with riots around us, we have softly erupted and found contentment with looking into each other's souls and smiling with our eyes. Yes, we are content with just looking into each other's souls and smiling with our eyes as we get ready to uncover what it really is that we have become in the space that we have now created. And on that day when we do uncover what it is we have become in the space we have now created, I hope to find you. I hope to find you to be the sun, and I will be the moon. And together we will gather stars in the night, and you will be suited in your thick blue velvet night sky, and I will veil myself with galaxies, taking 9 steps down the planets to meet you beyond Mercury, because what we have is way more than chemistry. And yes, we will be in the presence of God, and the angels, they will bear witness as the heavens make records of our vows. And when you ask me, do I promise to set when you rise? I do. Will I rise when you set? I do. Because I will be the mother to the little ones just like you. See, our children will be stars, and I will teach them never to remain in the sky, but to shoot in the night, leaving a mark upon this earth, making a name for themselves to be remembered. And for as long as the earth orbits around you, I promise to dance around it just for you. Yes. These will be my vows to you. And we will bind ourselves with the rings of Saturn as a symbol for this beautiful sickness sweeping over nations, proclaiming his glory. But before that, before we spread ourselves any further, allow me to reflect on what it really is that I see in this moment. See, I see you. a man standing before my heart, and I'm just a woman before yours. But we are both made in God's image, but you are a story whispered, and I am words written yet to be spoken. But we share the same heartbeat of righteousness and justice, because just as Christ was crucified, we have taken our lashes in life, yet we continue to lift our eyes to see into a better future, not only for ourselves, but for the ones that look up to us, because we are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses, yet in our suffering, we are empowering lives today that we are yet to meet in our tomorrows, because daily we are dying, dangling between heaven and earth. We are crucified for love, but we love and we love and we love, because when we love hard. Because we too were once prisoners of shame and deceit, deceived by the devil that we are not good enough, until the day the blood of Christ cried out for us, "It is enough." We no longer have to be rough around the edges, because we are afraid of pain, and laughter should no longer be a defense mechanism, but it should be a burst of joy into every space where it is released, leaving a trace of this beautiful sickness in every man's mind, filtering into their hearts, creating an echo into the next generation, because the sickness, it has no cure. It is eternal. And we will continue to eat of the body and drink of the blood of the one who is the carrier, yes, Christ. Because God is love. And as sure as the heavens are, he is contagious. And we will continue to spread him with our words of poetry, because someday, yes, the sun and the moon, yes, even the stars, they will all pass away, but love will always remain. Yeah, that poem, as you heard, it's a love poem. I don't know who I'm talking about. Some guy, maybe I'll meet in the future. But yeah, it's called Beautiful Sickness. These consequences have calmed my mind, for I've been convicted for loving you, and my life's imprisoned between our hearts. This story is a non-fiction. It hurts with no friction. Full of affection, I am an answerless question. I've brought myself to these consequences now. I repeatedly rip my desire, so to wrap our recognition in non-wrinkled rap, so to raise our reputation for real reasoning. I see this not to be right. But our display of righteousness has at times brought me happiness. Though I spend my nights in loneliness, I pass to impress in the eyes of those who possess self-pity and envy, to become parallel to what they know not, kills my heart and loses my soul. These consequences have calmed my mind, for I've been convicted for loving you, and my life's imprisoned between our hearts. This story is a non-fiction. It hurts with no friction. Full of affection, I am an answerless question. When I said yes, I should have said no, but now I'd wonder what would have come under, or would we have gone over, for this appears to, it will never be over, because you're my lover, and I just wonder if ever I'll surrender. Or maybe I did surrender in the wrong direction without giving thoughts to my action. The story is a non-fiction. It hurts with no friction. Full of affection, I am an answerless question. Because now it seems that for life we have been chained, our lives to be trained, never to betray, and our hearts not to go astray. But I'd rather be tamed than for my goals to be aimed at by those who have not yet been timed, because I suffer whilst they freeze and pose on ice. I suffer these consequences have conned my mind, for I've been convicted for loving you, and my life's imprisoned between our hearts. This story is a non-fiction. It hurts with no friction, full of affection. I am an answerless question. Yeah. Okay. As I look back into my life, I only found memories at 7. 0 to 6 was nothing but midnight to early morning, for when the sun came up at 7, they had murdered my being. And the soul of my appreciation was buried with my eyes wide open, and I could not see. As the sun shone every morning, I drowned in tears of confusion, and I could not see. So eye to eye, I went down, forced me to bow down, laid me on the ground, and as he put it in, he put me in. He pulled it out and he put it in, taking turns, pushing me deeper and deeper, 6 feet, and yet with not a single one did I take a step. Though my eyes were wide open, my doors had been shut before they were open, and my lights were turned off before I was turned on, opening me up to confusion and promiscuity. I found myself in sexual immorality simply because I never knew the reality that Jesus, he loved me, and God had for me a destiny. Because for myself, I had lost all dignity. But wasn't there anyone who could have told me that there was someone who cared, someone I could tell and would not blame me, because they had painted me a white mural wall that attracted every other pen and ink. So they all came, I let them come, pens, pencils, crayons, some even dipped paintbrushes in my ink, painting my wall so black, darker and darker on white, and I too dipped paintbrushes in her ink, painting deep, dark, bright colors in her soul. See, I was stained with lust, but none of it ever seemed to last. Yes, I was stained with lust, but none of it ever seemed to last. See, these writings on my wall were permanent. These writings on my soul could not be removed. These writings on my wall soul had become a part of who I was. I could not change it now. It was too late to turn back. But wasn't there anyone who could have told me that there was someone who wanted to forgive me? Because every time I looked at my wall soul, I only saw my marks. But wasn't there anyone who could have told me that I didn't have to cry anymore, that I didn't have to search my soul to find who I was, that there was someone who wanted to wipe away my tears, someone who knew who I was and was willing and waiting to mend every broken piece of my life? Wasn't there anyone who could have told me of such great love? That I didn't have to condemn myself, that there was someone who was waiting with arms wide open, ready for me to come and receive his love. But if you never told me, it's okay. I guess it was just not yet time for me to know. Yeah, I'm gonna do the last poem now. And the title of the poem is actually the title of the whole show. The show was actually titled from the poem, Silence Speaks. Their words mocked her, and she was silent. But her silence was contagious, because now her silence has marked me. Red, green, blue, I am bruised all over my body where people could not see, until she could not see the depth of my scar. I am no longer bruised where she can see, but I still bleed where she can't see. That I guess we both could not see. Yes, we both could not see that our silence was killing every ounce of our being in our souls. He marked her with a permanent marker that was invisible, but it left something visible. And again, she was silent, and her silence was contagious. It was contagious because they marked me, and then he marked me. They did it before, but then again it came back to me, and then he marked me, and then she marked me, but they had already marked me with a permanent marker that was invisible, and I was silent. And I never saw that my silence was killing every ounce of my being in my soul. He left his image in her hand and his footprints in my soul. He walked all over her mind and trampled all over my heart. But she was silent, and I could not speak. She never saw, and I could not see. We both could not see that our silence was killing every ounce of our being in our souls. See, she wept for my survival. I wept for our survival. She built her heart with cement, keeping strong for them. I put a wall of bricks around mine, keeping strong for us. She was her only hope. I was her only hope. She never saw that her silence was killing every ounce of her being in her soul. I never saw that my silence was killing every ounce of my being in my soul. So I break the silence. I break the silence to find peace. I break the silence so I can find my being. I break the silence and I forgive them. I break the silence and I forgive her. I break the silence, but have I forgiven myself for being that silence that killed every ounce of my being in my soul? So silence, forgive. Me, forgive. I, forgive. Silence speaks.